We're going to drill down a little bit deeper into what's going on overseas regarding the protests throughout all of those Middle Eastern countries. Joining us live from our newsroom today to talk about the protest in the Middle East and the outrage over that video is Bassem El-Kara. He's Executive Director of CAIR, that's the Council on American-Islamic Relations. Bassem, thank you so much for being here with us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
First off, just your reaction to the movie. What do you say about it?
I mean, of course, Muslims and people of faith are upset at any film depicting another faith, but at the same time, in this country we respect freedom of speech. This film actually was done purposely on 9/11, and it was actually done not also to upset Muslims, but also to make a rift, I would say, between Jews and Muslims, because the individual, the Christian who made this film, used a fake name, a fake alias, and went around saying that he was an Israeli making this film. So there's a lot more to it than just making this film. It was put out on 9/11, and it was done at a time to try to undermine some of the gains, some foreign policy gains that were made during the Arab Spring.
And we've seen the backlash now, and just your response to how quickly this seems to have spread from one country to another. And we're talking about some countries that the U.S. willingly helped in the Arab Spring to try and free those countries from longtime dictators, and now there seems to be this complete 180 with regards to support for America. How do you square that?
Well, to be clear, the incident in Libya had to do more to do with an incident that happened in June in Pakistan, where a Libby, the second in command in Al-Qaeda, was killed by a drone strike, and Al-Qaeda promised to retaliate, and so they chose to retaliate on 9/11 in Benghazi. So it didn't have to do with the film. It had to do with, most likely had to do with Abu Yahya al-Liby's assassination. And
yeah, I was just going to say, and some would suggest that the people who were lying in wait for that attack used the outrage over this film as a bit of a cover for them to launch their attack.
They certainly did. In Benghazi, there was a small protest that took place before the attack, and actually some of those people that were protesting were ones that were trying to help the ambassador, and they rushed the ambassador over to the hospital. So no one knew that this attack would take place a few hours after the initial protest. And then, of course, unfortunately, in that part of the world, yes, people are upset, but we've seen this with the Danish cartoons in 2008, where governments used these incidents to gain legitimacy in front of the people. And now everyone's trying to fight to say that they represent Islam and they're going to be defending Islam. And so it's a concern to the Muslim community that some folks are using this to gain legitimacy. And also, I mean, if you look in Cairo, if 200, even if 500 people are protesting in the streets, this is 500 out of 23 million people in the city of Cairo protesting. So there was other forms of protesting that people carried out, whether it was in social media, just expressing concern about this film, but not resorting to violence.
So, Bassem, in your opinion, what would you like to see from the Obama administration as they handle what's going on overseas? And also, what would you say about some of these countries, like the new president of Egypt, who's part of the Muslim Brotherhood? What do these leaders need to do?
Unfortunately, they're in a very difficult situation up to the election. I mean, in Egypt, Morsi's under a lot of pressure from the ultra-conservatives, who actually, they're the ones who initiated the protest, and then in turn, Morsi had to show, no, we are the defenders of Islam also. And so they're afraid of losing track to the ultra-conservatives in Egypt, and so this is a bit of a political ploy amongst these two groups.
And how does Obama play this?
It's cool, especially with Romney using this to try to undermine Obama. It's gonna be very difficult. I think he has to somehow show a balance, because he still needs to support Libya and Egypt during their transition into democracy. And if you recall, it took Europe from the French Revolution until about 1914 to cement their democracy. So it will take some time. I don't think it'll take that long in that part of the world, but it is going to take some time, and they will need our support to transform to a democracy. So it's a challenging balancing act for our president.
Bassem El-Kara with CAIR stopping into our studios today to talk with us a little bit about that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right.